Hey everybody, Ben here from Snipit Studios, and I'm back with another acrylic painting tutorial. Today, we're using acrylic spray paint to really kind of transform your painting. Stick around. So for today's tutorial, the list of materials is short. Spray paint, and whatever you're working on. That's it. That's all you need. I use spray paint in my work all the time. In fact, I'm not sure if there's a piece that I've done since picking up spray paint that I don't use it in, at least to some degree. So yeah, spray paint's cool, especially for fine art landscape stuff. A lot of people are like, how did you get that soft, subtle area of color? And I'm like, it's spray paint. Sorry, that's maybe a little bit cheating for somebody, but I think that it makes a really good look to the piece, and it's really easy. Anyone can do it. Now, I use the Liquitex Professional Spray Paint 1 because I can use it inside. I don't have to worry about any noxious fumes, odors, anything like that. Now, you don't necessarily need to use an acrylic spray paint. You can use sort of the, or not necessarily acrylic spray paint, but you can use the stuff that smells. You can use like a Acrylic or something like that. Just make sure that you're in a well-ventilated area when you're doing that. Now, the one downside I find to particularly any kind of professional paints is that the caps clog really easily. You maybe get maybe 5-6 sprays out of a cap, especially if you're really taking care of it. So you always usually want to have extra caps on hand. Now, I'm not reviewing this spray paint today, but I just want to kind of give you that as a sort of basis to start. So if you're going to be using spray paint, make sure you know what you're getting into. So for today, I'm going to be looking at two techniques. The first of which is to create mist and fog, sort of to diffuse light in your paintings. Now, I already have a tutorial on mist and fog where I show this technique, so we're going to be using it just a little bit differently. And the other way to use it is, at least that I have adopted using it, is to create a border around your piece to create sort of a different look. For a white spray paint like this, we're going to create sort of a dreamlike look to your piece. You can use black spray paint to sort of a dark, nightmare-y kind of look, or really any color just to kind of give it an interesting border all around your work to make people go, wow, that's really different. So let's get started. First things first, shake your can for 2 minutes. This is not optional. I'll see you guys in 2 minutes. Okay, so for today's tutorials, I've got some 140-pound cold-pressed watercolor paper, which I just did a quick little brush coat of some acrylic paint on top of. For this one, I've got a sun, which we're going to diffuse the light for. For the other one, it's just again, acrylic over top of this, and then I just took some paint marker and just did a quick sketchy landscape on top of it. So as for the spray paint today, I'm using what's Liquitex calls their thin cap. Unlike a regular standard cap or a fat cap, you're getting a bit thinner of a line. So it should help kind of diffuse the light a little bit differently. And especially since we're working on a smaller scale, then we're really looking at keeping things relatively small. Now, generally speaking, if you're using spray paint, you want to do so on a larger scale piece. Using it on a smaller scale piece doesn't make as much sense. But I'm just going to go right in here. And so for this, especially if you mess up on doing your sun and you have a little bit of an edge, this light diffusion thing can actually make it look really nice. So I'm just going to go in right over top and basically create a new shape. I actually sometimes will do just a spray of spray paint and then slowly work its way out, holding way back here. We want to keep it. Anything like you go close with spray paint, you're going to get a much bolder area. You go further back, you're going to get that mist. So again, build your sun and then diffuse the light. You can also do this. You can make it a moon. You can make it a sun. Whatever you want to do. You can also paint stars this way by kind of holding back on the cap and pushing it down ever so slightly to get bigger and bigger drips, but that's really just a personal preference, I'd say. Now I think for the more interesting one is getting a little bit of a drip on that, is getting that edge. Now it's pretty easy to go overboard with this edge, so if anything you want more of your spray paint to hit your work surface than to hit your piece. So actually what I'm want to do here is shield some of this. And if you put it straight down you're going to get a line, but if you keep it hovered up a little bit more, you can actually get a bit more of a refined edge, like so. And then, now obviously you are going to cover some up, and I also like to angle the corners here, round it out a little bit to create that unique, dreamlike state to a painting. So whether that be diffusing light in a sun or moon, or creating a really interesting, glowy, dreamlike effect, I think that using spray paint in your work can be a really valuable tool, especially as long as you're using it sparingly and using it correctly. I think it can be a really, really cool technique, especially if nobody knows you're doing it. Okay, so I don't just want to show you this in process, I want to show you what it looks like in a completed painting. First, the diffusion technique. The most recent one I did was a couple years ago. I did a collaboration with Marlena Vassar, who I did an interview with last year. And we did a piece called Floral Apparition, I think was the name of that one. And we were trying to figure out how to finish it. And now I was like, oh, I've got an idea. But I was like, you got to let me do it. And I'm promise you it's going to look good, but it's not going to make any sense when I'm doing it. And she's like, okay. And as soon as I did it, we both stepped back, and it was like, yes, that is what that painting needed. So that little bit of an edge glow created just that unique dreamlike effect that I think is just really valuable, particularly when you're doing, I think, even more abstract stuff. Now you've seen me use mist and fog with the spray paint all the time, so I don't want to show yet another example of that. But I do want to show you what I've done for a current piece I'm working on. This is an in-progress piece called Tale of the Young Swordsman. And for this particular one, I used a localized spray paint as well as a paper cone to kind of really keep my area of spray to a specific area. And for that, I basically did that. I had a little dot that was a sun. I just used a tiny, tiny bit of that spray paint to diffuse that light. And honestly, I think it looks really good. So what about you guys? Have you ever utilized spray paint in your art? And if you haven't, is this tutorial going to make you start using it? Because I think it's going to. As always though, if you learned anything, hit that like button, consider supporting me on Patreon, get subscribed if you're not already, and this has been from Cinderlock Studios. See you guys next time. Actually, there's the mist layer right there. I'm gonna let you guys look at that.